Welcome back. All right, so quick news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet, and also all the Young Star tournaments. We'll talk about who's playing where. A lot of rookie tournaments going on this weekend. There's one that starts today. Most of them start tomorrow, and one of them is just a two-game set in Allentown, Pennsylvania. But we'll talk about that after looking at some more news from around the National Hockey League today. Starting with the Philadelphia Flyers, Mark Recchi is going to be inducted into the Flyers Hall of Fame on January 27th, so that's great for Mark Recchi. He, of course, is already in the Hockey Hall of Fame, but he had a really good, solid run with the Philadelphia Flyers, so nice to see him going into their Hall of Fame. So if you are in Australia and if you're excited about the upcoming two-game set between the Kings and the Coyotes, may I add to your excitement by talking about how the Stanley Cup is also making the journey down to Australia for these games. So I think that's great. It should be fun for fans to come out and see the Stanley Cup, and I would imagine they'll have meet and greets with the players and all of that. So that's good news. The first game is, of course, next Friday or Saturday. So for me, I'm on the West Coast. So for me, technically, it's Friday at 9 p.m., and yet it's a Saturday game in Australia. It's a Saturday game for everybody else. So technically, when I do the review or recap, I might have to put the wrong date on it for me, because technically the game's being played on September 23rd. For me, it'll be September 22nd. So, but I'm intending to watch and do a full recap for that game between the Kings and the Coyotes. I'm going to be picking and choosing when it comes to preseason, because honestly, you don't want to take too much out of preseason. You don't want to overanalyze it too much. But it is always interesting to see which teams do well and which teams struggle in preseason, right? So yeah, that should be great for people in Australia. Hope you're getting excited. I can't wait to wear my Australia jersey for the recaps there. So Owen Pickering, a first-round draft pick for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's apparently dealing with an undisclosed injury. They're not saying what exactly it is. The team is hopeful that he will be good to go for the start of camp. Pickering, one of the, really, in all honesty, Pittsburgh doesn't have a really deep prospect pool. Pickering seen as one with a little more upside than some of the other prospects. So, yeah, getting him into training camp right at the start would be great for Pittsburgh. Brady Tkachuk. So, since Jake Sanderson signed that extension, and maybe I was the first that came out and said, you know what, I think this contract's fair for what Sanderson did his first year, for the fact that he was a top draft pick, and all of this. But there's been a lot of criticism about that contract, and Brady Tkachuk coming out and being the latest, really, because other senators have defended as well, and saying that Sanderson's going to justify the extension. And I think he will as well. I think Sanderson's an excellent defenseman, and it is interesting to me how quickly people will jump on a contract for a player who's got 1 year of experience. I understand why, and again, I would have been amongst the chorus that would have panned the contract 4 or 5 years ago. But I understand now that's how business is done. It is a speculative business now when you look at contracts. And yeah, so all the best to Jake Sanderson, and it's nice to see Brady Tkachuk standing up for him and everybody else too. The Ottawa organization has been in lockstep with the idea that, you know, Jake Sanderson, excellent young defenseman, and he's going to prove that that contract is worth every penny. So I really hope that he does as well. So, getting into the Young Star tournaments, various names for these tournaments, not worried about the name for every tournament. Traverse City, Michigan starts today, runs till the 17th. Columbus, Dallas, Detroit, and Toronto are in that tournament. A lot of talk about Matthew Nyes, the shape he's in, how good he's looked for Toronto so far. Keep in mind, the hype around the rookies really amps up over the next few days. Some of the rookies who have all this hype, once we get into training camp in the preseason, it can change. And then there's rookies as well that don't get the hype that end up making the team. So it's always fun to see these tournaments, how they turn out, and then how things change as we get towards the regular season. There's also a tournament in Buffalo that's starting tomorrow. The Buffalo Sabres are hosting Boston, Montreal, New Jersey, Ottawa, and Pittsburgh. So that's a big tournament, runs from the 15th to the 18th. Las Vegas is the home for a 6-team tournament between Anaheim, Arizona, Colorado, LA, San Jose, and Vegas. That starts tomorrow as well. Also running from the 15th to the 18th, there's a tournament in Fort Myers, Florida, between prospects for the Carolina Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, Nashville Predators, and Tampa Bay Lightning. It is so weird to me, because if you look at a map, Nashville is in Tennessee. It's right close to these other states. but it is one time zone over. It's kind of a shame it's not Eastern time, because otherwise Nashville would fit right in, and they'd have a much easier travel schedule. Of course, the tournament closest to me is in Penticton, BC. It's a bit of a drive. I'm not attending this tournament. It's between Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Winnipeg. It also runs from the 15th to the 18th. From the 15th till the 17th is the tournament in St. Paul, Minnesota, between Chicago, Minnesota, and St. Louis. Young players. And then Allentown, Pennsylvania has 2 games on the 15th and the 16th between the New York Rangers and the Philadelphia Flyers. So there you go. There are 3 teams by my count that do not have a young guns tournament, a rookie tournament that they're a part of. But again, it's not really a requirement, but I would imagine that at some point in time we'll have all 32 teams with rookie tournaments. Maybe at some point the NHL says, this is great, and they can have like a tournament with 4 tournaments of 8, and then the 4 winners play off against each other, that kind of thing, right? So something just fun before we get into training camp. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, as always. Which rookie are you looking forward to watching in these tournaments? Are you looking forward to seeing Fantilli, seeing Bedard, seeing Carlson? Which guys or which ones from previous drafts? So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.